Hi everyone. My name is Jerry Wise, and I've been helping people for 45 years get their family of origin out of them, their dysfunctional family of origin, and to discover their own true self they were never allowed to have. This video is entitled Things Narcissistic Families Taught You Were Normal but are actually abuse. Self-differentiation is the process of learning to separate your sense of self from the emotional entanglements of your family system and becoming the authentic person you were always meant to be, regardless of how others behave or whether they approve or disapprove. In this video, again, I'm going to talk about narcissistic families taught you things were normal, but actually they were abuse. These patterns may have shaped your understanding of relationships and self-worth, but they're not healthy and they are abusive. Let's dive into some of those damaging and most damaging lessons narcissistic families may have taught you and what you can do about them. First of all, criticism disguised as love. In narcissistic families, constant judgment or belittling is often framed as constructive criticism or tough love. But real love doesn't make you feel small or worthless. It builds you up. They, in narcissistic families, believe good parents must tame the ego, when actually they're only dealing with their own ego as parents. Another thing taught as normal but was actually abusive is control framed as protection. Narcissistic families normalize controlling your decisions, like who you date, what you wear, or your career, under the guise of looking out for you. But this control robs you of autonomy and confidence. That's not healthy. That's abusive. Another, emotional neglect passed off as tough love. Families may withhold affection or support and call it tough love, saying it's to make you stronger. But real love provides comfort and care and connectedness, not just emotional distance and neglectfulness. Another is gaslighting as normal disagreements. Narcissistic families often make you question your reality by insisting their perspective is the only valid one. It may seem like normal disagreement, but actually it's emotional manipulation. Another is conditional love as motivation. In dysfunctional families, love and approval are only given when you meet their expectations. This can feel like normal motivation, but it teaches you that love must be earned, which is a deeply harmful belief. Another is blaming you for their emotions. Families may say things like, "You made me angry. You're the reason I'm upset." It can seem like a natural reaction, but this shifts responsibility onto you for their feeling states, which is abusive and inappropriate. I'm not responsible for my parents' feeling states. It doesn't mean I always behaved or did everything right, but often they would say, "You have caused these problems." There's many more layers in between that than just the direct cause. Another is toxic loyalty over healthy boundaries. Narcissistic families often demand loyalty at all costs, saying, "Family comes first." But this can prevent you from setting healthy boundaries, leaving you enmeshed and drained. Even using fear can be a tool to press for toxic loyalty, where family is everything. And if you don't make family number one, you're going to fail in life. And that's just fear instigating, which is not healthy. Another is disrespect of privacy, framed as care. Families may invade your personal space or read your private messages, claiming they're just protecting you. But this disregard for privacy is controlling, not caring. Also, they are doing this controlling out of their own control anxiety or fear of loss of control. So it's not for your benefit, it's for their emotional benefit. Another is minimizing abuse as just how families are. Dysfunctional families normalize yelling, mocking, neglect by saying every family has its problems, but minimizing harm to avoid accountability is a form of gaslighting and abuse. They're not taking responsibility for the impact of their actions. And they will just normalize, well, your father's an alcoholic, and, I know he came home Friday and beat everybody, but, all families have problems. Well, that's just not problems. That's all families have terror. That's not just how families are. And so there will be minimizing that will occur, which is abusive. Another is making you the scapegoat to keep the peace. In many families, one member is blamed for conflicts to avoid addressing deeper issues. It might feel like keeping the peace, but being made the scapegoat is unfair and emotionally damaging. It is unfair, it's not real, and it's emotional damaging. And it is a displacement of the family's dysfunction, anger, all kinds of negative feelings onto one person or even a couple people in the family. Emotional abuse as toughening you up. Narcissistic families may justify yelling, insulting, or ridiculing you as a part of preparing you for the real world. It might seem like normal discipline, but it's deeply abusive and undermines your confidence and sense of self. Another is your achievements are for their glory, or they may be shaming to them as well. In these families, your successes are claimed as their accomplishments. This might seem like normal pride, but it denies you your recognition for your hard work and individuality. Well, I don't want you getting a big head. Remember, you're still just Jerry around here. It's a shaming way of discounting your achievements or using them for your benefit. I'm so glad you had a mother like me so you could accomplish these things you have accomplished. Another is their needs always come first. Narcissistic families often make their emotions and desires the top priority, leaving little room for your own. It may seem like normal respect for elders, but it's emotionally neglectful and dismissive for them to have always their needs come first. Another is parentification framed as maturity. In dysfunctional families, you might be expected to care for parents or siblings emotionally or physically, framed as you being so responsible. But this robs you of a childhood and is a form of abuse, or it's normalized parentification. Remember, you are the eldest, so therefore you should be the third parent, and that's considered normal, but it isn't, and it's not appropriate. Everyone should get a chance to grow up and have a childhood. And I'm not talking about parents who actually cannot do something to help the family in which you could be of help. I'm talking about you doing for them what they should be doing as parents and can do as parents, but don't. Another is silence as punishment. Families may use the silent treatment as a way to punish you, calling it cooling off or teaching you a lesson. But this emotional withdrawal is manipulative and abusive, and silent treatment is passive-aggressive. And I have found many families even engage in this after everyone is an adult. They still engage in this passive-aggressive silence as punishment. In other words, I can't share with you my true feelings. I'm just going to be hurt and upset and just not talk to you. And you need to figure it out. Another is gaslighting your emotions as overreacting. When you express sadness or frustration, narcissistic families may tell you you're too sensitive or being dramatic. It may seem like harmless feedback, but it invalidates your emotions and creates self-doubt. Because many times we're not being dramatic. We're not being oversensitive. We just see it and feel it much differently than you do. And lastly, blaming their problems on you and never taking responsibility. In narcissistic families, a parent will often avoid accountability by blaming you for their mistakes, their failures, or their problems. You may have been made to feel like everything that went wrong was your fault. This constant shifting of blame teaches you to internalize guilt that isn't yours. I call it a systems guilt, and denies you the opportunity to see their actions for what they are: manipulative and unfair. These behaviors may have felt normal growing up in narcissistic or dysfunctional families, but they're not okay. They're abusive. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to breaking free and getting the family dysfunction out of you. What are some quick self-differentiation tips? Recognize these are not normal or acceptable. They may have been normalized for you, but I want you to see them as not normal. That's a beginning to get the family of origin out of you. Secondly, don't use normal rules for abnormal relationships. And again, I think that's common in dysfunctional and narcissistic families, even in alcoholic families, drug addicted families, all kinds of families, where they will engage in abnormal functioning in the relationship, but want you to behave according to the normal rules that everyone would accept. For example, this would be a gross example. I'm going to beat all the kids till they're black and blue, and then I'm going to expect you to honor your father and mother. See, I'm going to use normal rules for abnormal relationships. Begin to not use normal rules for abnormal relationships. We call out the abnormal behavior. That is wrong. And again, that's, well, I'm your mother. Well, yes, I think in most cases, many people would probably respect their mother, value their mother, honor their mother as an elder. They would do all of those things. But if the mother is so toxic and dysfunctional, then they require everyone to treat them with the normal rules of societal relating while denying their abnormal behavior. Thirdly, work on getting your family out of you. And simply that means changing beliefs and emotional states that were programmed into you. Family of origin is in everyone. Detaching from family of origin programming and choosing your own programming is the work of self-differentiation. If you found this video helpful, join my free training, Build the Real Self You Were Never Allowed to Have. Totally free. Over 30,000 people have watched it in the past year alone, and you will not regret it. You can see the link below. Please subscribe, please comment, and please like this video. I want to thank you for joining me, and have a great day, and be wise.